What if I told you that this, a half-empty glass of water, could destroy the laws of physics? It sounds ridiculous, right? It's just a glass. Half full, half empty, depends on your mood, or maybe on whether you've had coffee today. But imagine for a moment that something about this glass, the angle of the light, the balance of molecules, or maybe the attitude of the observer, caused the universe to glitch. 1 second, everything's normal. The next, gravity stops behaving. Time starts looping, and every scientist on Earth collectively screams, "Wait, what?" This isn't just a question about optimism or pessimism. It's a question about reality itself. So, what if a half-empty glass really could break physics?
A glass of water sitting quietly on a table looks boring, but inside it's chaos. Each molecule of H2O is vibrating, colliding, forming and breaking hydrogen bonds a trillion times per second. From a physics standpoint, that glass is a tiny universe, a dance of energy, motion, and entropy. Now, the word entropy is just science's polite way of saying everything eventually becomes a mess. So when you look at a half-empty glass, you're seeing a balance between order and disorder, between structure and chaos. In theory, it should behave predictably. But if that balance ever tipped the wrong way, physics would panic.
Here's where it gets weird. At the quantum level, the particles in that glass don't actually exist in one place. They're in a probability cloud, a fog of maybes. And the moment you look at them, you force them to choose a reality. This is called the observer effect, and it means that your attention literally changes the physical world. So, what happens if 8 billion people all stare at the same glass, half full, half empty, at the same time? That much observation could, in theory, overload quantum coherence, the universe's way of keeping all the probabilities organized. It's like a computer trying to process a billion maybes at once. It overheats, so the universe reboots.
But let's say the problem isn't quantum, it's macroscopic. That half-empty glass means the center of mass is slightly uneven. Tiny asymmetries like that exist everywhere. But what if, for one mysterious reason, this particular glass happens to amplify it? If gravity is the stage manager of the cosmos, this glass is a diva who just threw her cue cards in the air. Imagine, the Earth's gravitational field flickers for 0.0001 seconds. Suddenly, oceans slosh like soup in slow motion. Satellites drift off course. The moon does a little shimmy. And in that single blank, physics loses its confidence. Because the one thing that's never supposed to happen just did.
But what if, and stay with me here, the glass didn't change at all? What if we did? Human perception isn't a window, it's a filter. Every brain on Earth reconstructs its own version of reality, piece by piece, from light, sound, and memory. So maybe the moment the glass broke, physics was just the instant when we all noticed that reality isn't as stable as we thought, and suddenly everything around us, the ticking clock, the pull of gravity, the hum of air conditioning, starts to feel like code. Maybe the universe isn't made of matter, but of information. And that half-empty glass, it's just the system's way of asking, are you paying attention? So what happens next? Does the universe collapse into a quantum smoothie? Do black holes pop like bubbles? Does gravity call in sick? Not quite. Instead, something much stranger happens. The universe just pretends nothing happened. Because physics, much like your Wi-Fi, has a self-repair feature. If reality glitches, it quietly reboots before anyone notices. That's why you sometimes walk into a room and forget why you went there. You didn't lose your memory, you just reconnected to the simulation.
In the end, the glass stays on the table, half full, half empty, or maybe both. Maybe the real question isn't whether the glass could break physics. Maybe it's whether we already did. Every discovery, every experiment, every thought that pushes the limits of what's possible
cracks the universe just a little. And yet, it keeps holding, because that's what physics does. It bends, stretches, adapts, all so we can keep asking, what if? So next time you look at a half-empty glass, remember, it's not a symbol of optimism or despair. It's a reminder that reality itself might be fragile, and the curiosity is what keeps it together.
And maybe the strangest part isn't that a half-empty glass could break physics, but that we never stop to wonder what else might. Because every answer only leads to another impossible question. So if you're still curious, look up. Beyond every sunset, beyond every shadow, there's a star waiting to burn your imagination alive. What would happen if, for just 1 nanosecond, you actually touched it? Watch the next episode. What if you touched the sun for just 1 nanosecond and see how close we can get before everything melts away?